So many years ago, a committee at St. Paul's changed the name of the Sunday morning mission moment to Celebration of Ministry. And today, that is what I want to do, to celebrate the ministry of STEMrev. I am really proud of what we accomplished over 5 years and very, very grateful for St. Paul's faithful support, without which we could never have accomplished everything that we did. So to remind you, because you have not heard about it for several months, STEMrev is an after-school program intended primarily for students in low-income housing in Boulder. We partnered with the I Have a Dream Foundation, Boulder Housing Partners, and the City of Boulder's Family Resource Schools, primarily Columbine Elementary. We provided hands-on STEM, that stands for science, technology, engineering, and math, activities led by myself and my partners, and a cadre of volunteers, including an astronaut candidate from CU, and our very own Charles and Belinda Alcala, and my son Ben. We went into schools and community centers to serve kids where they were at. So here's the stats. 10 students participated in our pilot program in spring 2017. So we sort of got organized in the fall and we're ready to offer programming in a spring semester starting in January. Then the next semester, which was fall 2017, we offered programming at 2 sites and had about 15 students initially. By spring of that year, we had 25 students. So more kids were coming to the same locations because their friends were telling them, it's fun, come on over. The following autumn, we served 50 students in 3 locations. And then in spring 2019, we had 60 students in 4 locations, which was just about our maximum for manpower to be at the sites, 1 every day after school. In fall 2019 and spring 2020, before the schools closed in mid-March, we consolidated to 2 locations, but we still had about 60 kids. We'd also developed a summer camp and then an in-school program for the students at the Temple Grandin School, whose students are on the autism spectrum. Across these locations, students ranged in age from 8 to 15, elementary to high school. And surprisingly, they liked the same projects. We didn't have to scale up or down, just give them some stuff and set them to work. And it was enjoyable for all the ages. So last fall, when the schools moved to online learning, STEMrev did a series of videos starring me, which we posted on our YouTube channel, and then delivered actual materials to 75 kids in the I Have a Dream program so they could continue their STEM enrichment at home. So they had the materials to do the project and then they could watch the video to sort of see how it was supposed to be done. And then this winter, we had another 75 kits for those same kids, which were donated by Carollo Engineering, which is out in Broomfield. An engineer at Carollo was a STEMrev volunteer when she was in college, and then she graduated and went on and maintained her connection with us. So if you'd add all that up, STEMrev did about 125 projects for about 450 students over 5 years. That is a lot of STEM learning. But for me, the most important goal wasn't STEM education. You might remember, I am a former English teacher. My #1 rule at STEMrev was to mess up. And that's what I told them on the very first day. My #1 rule, mess up. I encourage kids to make mistakes and then learn from, from their mistakes. So in other words, try, fail, try again. And that's a life lesson for everyone, I think. Kids are under a lot of pressure to get things right at home, at school, on their schoolwork, on tests, with every decision they make. At STEMrev, kids were allowed to get it wrong. It was a safe space to try something new. And more often than not, if you try, you will succeed. And then they were so pleased and proud when they did. As Charles and Belinda know, STEMrev was loud and chaotic and messy and wonderful. But here's the news I want to break this morning. It's time to move on. And my partners and I have agreed to dissolve the STEMrev organization at the end of the year. It's not because of the pandemic exactly, but the disruption, the change to all of our lives and our work schedules set us on different paths. And now we're all going in different directions. The supplies that you all donated over the years, the Connects building sets and snap circuits, the Raspberry Pis and the model engine kits, have all been donated to Columbine Elementary, a family resource center school here in Boulder, where we did STEM programming for 4 semesters. So the kids will continue to teach and inspire kids. And the principal of Columbine was so grateful when I emailed her and said, hey, can I give you some stuff? She said, yes, 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 yes. She was very, very glad to have these things above and beyond what they can provide from their budget. Truly, again, I celebrate the ministry we did through STEMrev. So with a few popsicle sticks, okay, thousands and thousands of popsicle sticks and some discarded electronics, which you all brought in, we planted seeds and we touched lives. And I thank you for believing in our vision and making it possible. And to wrap up, I have some photos to share, a little slideshow. I admit this is a bit self-indulgent, but it's my last chance. So Scott's gonna help me get the slides going and I'll tell you what we're seeing. Okay, so this is my partner, Dawn, who is a friend of Bobby Dahlstrom. It was Bobby who got us connected. And this is one of our very first projects. It's a pizza box solar cooker. So you cut out a pizza box and line it with foil. You show the next slide. And then you set it out in the sun and the heat reflects in. We were making s'mores here. Slide. I can do that if you want. But we also used food stuff for building materials. So this is Christian making a tower. The challenge was to make the tallest tower you could out of uncooked spaghetti noodles. Okay. Building projects were the most popular. These girls are building a bridge out of popsicle sticks. When the bridges were finished, we tested them by putting it over like 2 tables over a gap and piling weight on top. So it's pretty spectacular when the bridges collapsed, but I promise we all wore safety glasses to avoid the flying bits. This is one of our volunteers, Emily, working with Jaleesa on a Ferris wheel made out of Connects. Emily earned a PhD in chemistry from CU and went to work for NASA in Houston. We had some pretty cool volunteers. And these girls are tackling one of these Connects building projects on their own, and they succeeded. Even the little kids liked the Connects, although they did sometimes need a little bit more help to follow the instructions, or sometimes they abandoned the instructions and did their own thing. We did do other projects that weren't building. This is the kids flying hot air balloons made out of dry cleaner bags and birthday candles. And these students are building wind turbines using index cards, paper clips, and a wine cork. And they would always ask me if I drank all the wine myself, but actually I bought some corks from McGuckins. You see the voltmeter here. They use those to test how much power they could generate, and it was a contest, so that always motivates them. Here the kids are playing the Monty Hall game, you know, pick behind the doors. It's a math activity, so we were trying to incorporate the math part of STEM. The woman standing here is Jackie, the volunteer who went on to work for Carollo. And here we're making Christmas cookies, which might sound like fun, but it was also a science lesson. We were talking about measuring, and some groups had measuring cups and spoons to follow the recipe, and some of them had to just make estimates. And you can imagine those cookies did not taste quite right. So the ones that we decorated here were the good ones. This was one of the most popular projects of all. This was making like a roller coaster or a marble track using pipe insulation, and then you put a marble through it. So they made all kinds of loops and jumps, and it was really, really popular project. And this is a catapult made out of popsicle sticks. We use these to launch little pieces of candy at ice cream sundaes. So we'd set a bowl of ice cream across the room, and you had to try to hit your ice cream sundae with it. They were not very accurate, but it was fun. And then on a larger scale, this is a trebuchet with which we launched water balloons. You don't have to be very accurate with a water balloon. It's fun no matter what. Now, all of our projects were low tech. This is one of our volunteers, Sarah, teaching the kids to program these little robots. She brought the robots from her lab at CU. And this is Sarah giving us a tour of her lab, and these little things in the tray are also a kind of little robot. Sarah's a graduate student there at CU in robotics, and other students there also gave us tours. We got to see the NASA lab at CU. We also went to the Pipe Fitters Apprenticeship School in Denver and the Metalworkers Apprenticeship School and a construction site here in Boulder. So we tried to bring STEM to life for the kids by taking them out into the world. All right, here's the last one. This is XR. And I think his face just tells the story. He is a proud and excited kid who got a chance to try something new, to mess up without consequence, and then to succeed at his project. Again, thank you all so much for your support over the years.